I get to spend time with a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Whether they're friends or friend of friends, CEOs, politicians and things like that. So, and I get to learn from these people a lot. And I think one thing I've realized, it's like, whenever I talk with like a big time executive from like a Fortune 500 company, at dinner or something like that, and I'm like, wow, you're like, in your 40s or 50s or something like that. Like, you have all the experience that to start something. Why have you started it? And they're usually like, oh, because I've never felt ready.
Dope. So we got another episode of Adversity Kings. We have special guest today, Claude, correct?
Yep.
Correct pronunciation?
The real French pronunciation is Claude, but
Claude, okay.
Most people don't. It's all right.
So what's the full name? The full gov?
The full name?
Yep.
Well, it's really Claude Cimeus.
Okay.
In Haiti, you get called by your middle name.
Okay.
So it's actually only here I get called Claude, or by my family, I'm like called by my middle name.
What do close friends call you?
Well, just like close friends, like, are they Haitian or are they here? Like, my close friends in Haiti call me Claude. No, call me my middle name.
Okay.
And then my close friends here call me Claude because they don't know my middle name. It's like a cultural difference thing.
Okay. And so let's talk about growing up for you. You grew up in Haiti or you grew up here?
It's almost like, it's like I grew up in two parts, because I came here when I was like 12 or 11.
Yes.
So I'd say the first half of my early childhood was in Haiti, and the second half was here.
What was growing up in Haiti like?
It was a lot of fun, man. I mean, it's like, life was very simple.
Yes.
I think life is generally simple when you're a kid, but I think it was especially simple in Haiti.
Yes.
I don't think I worried about a lot. Like, we took pleasure in the simple things, like playing soccer in the neighborhood. The street food was really good, I remember. It's called fritage. I mean, every summer you have to worry about hurricanes, I think. More than here. But other than that, it was great. Like, going out, spoke two languages, Haitian, Creole, and French. The country went through its fair share of rough patches and still going through that now. But I don't think that resonated a lot with me as a kid.
You're so
a
young.
lot of soccer too, like World Cups, like World Cup and Copa America time was definitely like a big thing.
Yeah.
So really look forward to those.
What brought you to America?
My parents were studying. So my parents are like pastors and missionaries, and so they came here to get their master's degree. In like divinity, and we all came because we all had green cards at that point, so we could just like come here and stay and go to school. So that was the main. I think when I came here, it was like around like 2010. I think a lot of people assume it's because of the earthquake. Actually, it had nothing to do with that. My parents were studying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, as you're transitioning into America, did you come straight to Chicago, or were there other states you lived in?
No, I spent like a semester of 7th grade in Miami, but that's because we have relatives in Miami and like every Haitian is in Miami. But I'd say that 3 months, compared to the amount of time I spent here, it's basically direct to Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so 2010, you came here.
2011, early 2011.
And then you were 13, 14?
No, I was like 11 or 12.
11 or 12? Yeah. So when were you born, 98?
97.
97?
So somebody do the math on that.
Okay.
That math
You're a year older than me. You're 25.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
damn,
so
yeah.
You would have been, damn. I'm horrible at math, too. I was 12, so you would have been.
Yeah, I was like, that was.
Yeah,
I know
12.
I was in 7th grade, yeah.
Yes. Okay,
yeah.
Dope. So, Chicago, you plant here. What is that high school life like growing up?
It was a very like.
And were you 4 languages deep? Creole, Haitian, French, and English?
Creole, 3.
3.
3, yeah. And I didn't know English at that point, so I had to learn it. But I didn't like go to classes to learn it or anything.
Your English sounds very like, even the accent isn't very like heavy.
Yeah, I think I think around that age too, it's like it's fairly easy to pick up a new language.
Yes.
But yeah, I did not. I watch a lot of TV, read comic books.
Yeah.
That helped. High school was an interesting time. Like, I went to a very. We were living in Deerfield because that's my parents went to Trinity, but it's not like we could afford it. Like Deerfield is like a very wealthy place. We're not wealthy. Actually, we're fairly poor and broke. But so it created kind of this. My high school years are very interesting because it was like like going to school, you're kind of seeing like this completely different life that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Like literally kids coming in like Rolls Royces and Bentleys.
Yeah.
And then at home, you're like we may not have enough money for food that week.
Yes.
Or something, right?
Yes.
So it kind of living in two different worlds. Kind of seeing a world that I was aspiring to be at some point.
Yeah.
And kind of a world that that was the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So it was like every day. It was kind of like it was like living in two very different worlds. Like one was a very like privileged bubble, and the other one was not.
So
financially speaking,
what did you love and what were you passionate about in high school? Like, what were you heavily involved in?
I did Model UN once, I think like sophomore year or freshman year, Model United Nations, because I had like I thought I wanted to be an economist. So like I would want to get involved in like public policy at some point. I don't know. I watch a lot of CNBC, and like whenever I saw The Economist, like
So at a young age, you were inspired.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was watching a lot of business shows.
Okay.
Yeah. CNBC, Squawk Box in the morning.
What turned you on to that at such a young age?
Again, like I think I was really aspiring to be somewhere that I was not used to when I came here, because I think our lives really changed when we came here.
Yeah.
And I think I became very aware of the world, of how the world worked at a rather young age. So, and I understood like to be somebody at some point, like you probably have to get involved in those things.
Yeah.
And I think like the inspiration probably came from, I watched a documentary about Mark Cuban also.
Yeah.
It's called Beyond the Glow with Mark Cuban. It entirely changed my life, the course of my life, because you kind of realize like, because in Haiti, there's no like caste system, but the economic group that you're born into is probably the one that you're gonna die into. So like watching that documentary about him, going from like a middle class, like a lower middle class guy from Pittsburgh to going to IU, and then eventually like starting a tech company, and then starting another tech company, then becoming a billionaire, and then buying the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Kind of showed like, oh, like if you dedicate yourself to something, work hard, get a little lucky at some point, you could really build something amazing that, could change your life and your entire generation's life. So I think that documentary was the start for me. And then, I just like really got into like watching a lot of Shark Tank and CNBC stuff. Yeah.
So with that inspiration, and then also real quick in regard to what's the government style then in Haiti?
It's a democracy.
It's democracy.
Yeah. So
okay.
President every 5 years.
Every 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to, I think you can only be president twice, but not in a row. So you have to be president once, someone else win the other one, then you can run again, and then you're done.
Okay, that makes sense. So you have that inspiration of business shows, different things like that. Now you graduate high school. What are the next steps?
I think the next step after high school, well, I knew I didn't want to go to college. I did not want to go to college.
Were your parents all right with that?
At the beginning, they were not fans of the idea, but they were still very supportive, which I think I'm very grateful for. Like, and that's the one thing I think has played a giant role into where I'm at today. It's just my parents being very supportive of me, just emotionally, and also, and also believed in me. And whenever I had some crazy dream, like, oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
So having that assurance, I think, was very helpful. Just like it grounded you, just like from an emotional standpoint. So I was not really looking for like outside validation, having that. So I don't think they were fans of the idea at first. I started a company right after high school. There was like this tool if you own a fleet of cars, you can order a mechanic on demand to come fix the car. So the inspiration was, let's say you're like a plumbing business or a cleaning company. My thesis was, if you have to drop your car off at the repair shop for a few days, business kind of stops from there, because like the car is the business. So it's better to get a mechanic to come fix it on demand. And that company failed because I didn't know what I was doing. I think directionally it was actually a good idea, but I just didn't have the founder market fit to kind of propel it. And I think there's a lot I needed to learn about the world too. But that same angel investor who backed me, this guy named Brian Lorson, ended up hiring me at his company that he had started at that point. And I think he had raised like $500,000 for it. And it's like, well, you've been doing this for a year and a half or a couple of years, whatever it was. Why don't you join this company that I've started? We have some money. You'll have an actual salary, and I took it. And so,
are you still there?
No,
okay.
Not at all. Yeah, but it was like my first real tech job.
Okay.
And I think I was 19 at that point.
What did that consist of?
So it was an app called Orchard. The business is pivoted into an idea now, but it was an app called Orchard where it helps you cultivate your relationships. So if you have a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, say, hey, you haven't reached out to Bob or Sarah or someone like that. Time to catch up. Or if you're going to a trip to New York, you would say, hey, like, there's this person that you know in New York. It's time to catch up with them. Grab a coffee. So it helps you, like, gives you reminders to cultivate your relationships and just, would pinpoints different things. And I joined there as growth product manager.
Okay.
Yeah. And that consisted of a lot. It consisted of actually doing the job of a growth product manager, and also everything else, like getting bagels for the office and, doing user research, it was like 5 of us. And I was the youngest and most junior person on the team. So, but it was a great experience. We got accepted into Y Combinator, which is like the premier, startup accelerator in the world. So moved to the West Coast to be part of that, Silicon Valley. So, that was a great experience. Forever grateful to Brian for that.
What was the most valuable thing you took from that experience?
That's a good question. I think a couple things. I think from Brian, like, I really learned a lot about just like how to work, because like at that point, like, no one teaches you how to be a professional.
Yeah.
Right. Like, no one teaches you how to send an intro email or like, how to communicate to your team, how to no one teaches you that stuff, right? So, like, I think one, just the general basic things was like just how to be a working professional. I think that's probably the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what happened after that? Where'd you go?
So after that, the business pivoted into a new idea, which is now called DraftBit, which is it's a tool that helps you build mobile apps by dragging and dropping. So like, it's like a no-code tool. And at that point, it kind of became a very like technical idea, that's like, I don't think I was like a good fit for it anymore, because like it was an idea that I wasn't like
extremely passionate about.
Yeah. I think I was far more passionate about like the cultural relationship piece. And then I went to another company called Visibly. And it was a seed stage company at that point, then became Series A. It's called it's an online vision test company. So I joined there to do user research. So I was in the R&D team. Basically, I was the R&D team. It was like a 50-person company. I was working right under the co-founder, who's like the scientist. And just thinking about like, my job was entirely thinking about like, what are some other vision tests that we can include into our digital offerings.
Eye exams.
Eye exams, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, instead of going to the optometrist to get a vision test, you get it on your computer, and it would like give you the results of your glasses.
Oh, wow.
That you should get, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so how long were you there?
I was there for about a year, and then we didn't get FDA approval.
Okay.
The whole thing kind of shut down at that point.
Well,
I think it's back now,
okay.
For the record, but at the point we didn't get FDA approval.
What was the lesson you got out of that season of life?
Oh, man, so many. I could literally talk the entire... Wow. No, I mean, so many. One, I burned myself out a lot. I was working way too hard. I mean, it's like, essentially it was my own fault. But, I even like, there was a point I was working so hard. Like I remember there was a big project I was working on around it was like a holiday time in December. And I essentially had to call 911 because I was so stressed.
Yeah.
I was so stressed. I've never been that stressed in my life. Thankfully, it's never happened again, but it was like a big low for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that's the hardest adversity you've faced in your life? Like that low season?
Hardest adversity? No. I mean, I don't think anything can be worse than like a death of a relative or something.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the hardest, but it was definitely, I'd say top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, not work yourself to burn out. So find that balance was one. Two, just personally, as I want to build a company at some point, being more thoughtful around, regulations and regulation hurdle you have to think about. And I think third, just be more mindful about, whenever I'm running my company in the future, mindful about how we're spending money and things like that.
Yeah. So as you transition from that season into the next season, where did you go?
A company called ShopRunner, which is and eventually it got sold to FedEx. But I joined there. I was doing user research, design research, what was ShopRunner? ShopRunner it still exists. It was taking the power of like what Amazon Prime is and providing that to every other brands. But like it was mostly like very luxurious brands like Saks Fifth Avenue, I think also like Gucci and those other retailers that are fairly affluent.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing design research there.
Any lessons out of that experience?
Lessons. I made some great friends and great colleagues, and I got to work with Sammy again, who's now like one of my closest mentors and friends now. He was the CEO there, but he's also the founder of SparkNotes, the founder of OkCupid. So like being able to see his working style and being able to he's done very well.
Yes.
So he's now like. Someone I definitely like. I have on speed dial. Whenever I'm thinking about what I'm doing next and things like that. Someone I, very close advisor of mine.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the next. Where do you go next?
And then I was at Forager, product manager again. What Forager was like logistics, and that company got sold too. By the way, Forager.
Now, did you get any equity in the selling? When you sell a company, it's an exit, correct?
It's an exit, but no, my equity did not vest at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but no. And then Forager, it was like still exists. It's a cross-border logistics tech platform. So you're able to get, so let's say, kind of like an Uber for cross-border logistics of like North America. Mm-hmm. So like carriers are able to find shippers to put their stuff in to send to Mexico, US, or Canada. So I was the product manager for the carrier side.
Dope.
Yeah. And then after that, I ended up taking, and that was like right after 2020. And thankfully, like my job was not affected by 2020 at all, like by the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And after that, I literally took some time off. I quit. I took some time off for a few months. To go back to Haiti, spend some time with my parents. Because at that point, I was like, I hadn't seen my parents for a while, and kind of went through the whole shutdown without seeing them because they're in Haiti, and then I couldn't travel to see them. They couldn't travel to see me. So I was just like, I think I reached a point there again of like burnout. So just like kind of chill for a bit. I was, thankfully I was also like in a good financial situation to be able to do that. I know not a lot of people are able to do that, but yeah.
So you were solid.
Yeah.
And then after a couple months, take a break, then what?
And then I felt like I really wanted to be at a larger company.
Yeah.
Because I've always been at less than 200 person companies.
Yeah.
And after that, there's a few opportunities I was juggling, but ended up going to a company called Active Campaign, worth over $1 billion. I think also like over 1,000 employees. And so to me, that's big. I know 1,000 employees for some people, it's like, oh, that's still small, but to me, that was big. So I joined as product manager, leading the mobile app product there. And yeah, that was my first time at a larger company. So I think there was a lot of lessons there. Just, I'm thankful I had a very good manager. And yeah, it was interesting to navigate. It's a different level of like navigation than a small startup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest thing from that company?
I think, what did I learn at DC? I think being able to communicate your vision and making sure and like getting people around you excited about it,
yeah,
is key. And I had a manager that helped me do that pretty well, and Veronica. So shout out to her. She lives in Denver. So I think that was a big part for me, just like team-wide communication.
Yeah.
And especially in a remote world, because like we're not in office. I think communication was probably the biggest thing here. Yeah.
So where did you go next?
Next is very unexpected. Earlier this year, well, to get back, like last year, when vaccines started to become more available and people are kind of going out a bit more, I started, mind you, at that point, I'm kind of like 5-6 years in now in the tech industry. So
yeah.
I know quite a few people and quite a few people know me. So I was like, why not just start gathering people for fun? So me, my friend Abinaya, I was a VC in Chicago. Eric Dubois, who works at, he's an executive at Relativity. And then my friend Tony, who's like a vice president at CBRE. We're like, let's start getting people together, like in very fun, networking style parties. And every time we do them, more people want to get involved, more people want to come, more sponsors want to get involved. And so it's just doing that for fun. And then earlier this year, I was at my friend's birthday party, Desiree. She's an executive at the company that I'm working at now. I told, we were talking about things we want to do in the future and things like that. And I was, telling her, about like, kind of like some changes I want to make about my future. And she's like, oh, what about, P33, which is where I work now. I was like, what about it? Because it was like the first moment of my life or my career life where I was not actively working in building products, software products, or managing the development process of software products. Because it's like a fairly fluid role. The role did not exist, so they make it up for me and things like that. I chatted with her at the party, and then chatted with her again at at a more another meeting when everyone was sober, and then chatted with a few executives from there, and then one thing led to another. I ended up taking it. Yeah.
What sold you on wanting to work there?
Well, one, it's a great team, and it's an org that was started by Chris Gladwin, was a very well-known entrepreneur in Chicago. So this company is Cleversive for over $1 billion. Penny Pritzker, obviously, she's a super smart businesswoman in her own right. And also, so the team, the founding team, I think is part of it. I think also the team that I get to work with. I mean, it's like a team of super high caliber people. Like our CEO, spent 20 years at BCG, became a big partner there. Desiree is a two-time or three-time entrepreneur. Yuan, our COO, is and again like a chief operating officer, from the UK, came here like it was a big time consultant at Deloitte. Like literally everyone is like a baller, and you get to be part of that. So I was very excited about that. Plus, I think it also allowed me to like do what I was doing for fun. Now just like my day job, which is like bringing the community together. That's part of it. But I think the other part is just creating a lot of network effects for founders and venture capitalists and talents. It's a great.
So what do you find with all of this? Where do you find the direction in your vision for the next 5-10 years? Roughly.
Yeah. I usually don't think about Yeah, I think directionally, I think I know where. Like, I want to be a founder again.
Yes.
Yeah, I really want to take a big bet on myself in my 20s again. I think, the more I think about, like, at this point, I've met, I get to spend time with a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Whether they're friends or friend of friends, CEOs, politicians and things like that. So, and I get to learn from these people a lot. And I think one thing I've realized, it's like, whenever I talk with like a big time executive from like a Fortune 500 company, at dinner or something like that, and I'm like, wow, you're like, in your 40s or 50s or something like that. Like, you have all the experience that to start something. Why haven't you started it? And they're usually like, because I've never felt ready. And whenever I talk with my friends who are younger, who are like in their early 30s and some late 20s, that have, a couple major companies here in Chicago, some worth over $1 billion, they said that, they wish they had started earlier. So it's like, you'll never feel ready, and when you have the experience, and then the people that have started things, looking back, they're like, it's because, I wish I had started earlier.
Yeah.
So I guess, you just gotta take the jump at some point.
Yes. Do you have anything in mind that you want to, obviously being in the tech industry, but is there anything?
I think there's a few things I'm thinking about. Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably like it's like telling like a rapper to maybe like talk about his new lyrics. You probably don't want to.
No. I think there's a few things I'm thinking about, but nothing that can be public yet.
Yes. So what about who are the like top 2 or 3 like biggest inspirations for you right now? And then I also want to jump into your top 2 or 3 mentors like that you have access to right now, but more so even your top 2 or 3 like people that you are inspired by. I don't like to say like looked up to, because once you get around so many like high caliber individuals, you start to realize it's not really like an idolatry. It's more so of like inspiration and just a humble mindset of I'd love to jump into something like that. So who are those 2 or 3 people for you?
Inspiration currently. Well, my immediate family for sure is always a big inspiration for me. It's my parents and my brother, my older brother. They've been inspiring me ever since I was a kid, because they've all I know. So for sure, my parents and my brother. When I think of inspiration, that's a good question. I don't know. I get inspired by I think usually people name drop in the inspiration thing, but I think like when I think of my friends, people that I spend time with, I get inspired by all of them in different ways, right? I think of my friend Bree, for example. Like she's a therapist, and she's like one of the most smartest and most thoughtful people that I know, and she doesn't care about like wealth or power or anything like that. But so it's like so I get inspired by her. Think of, like Abinaya, for example, again, like she's an amazing friend, someone that is doing big things, that will continue to do big things. She's honestly, like, we're about the same age, I think, but like she's actually someone I call whenever, like, when I need advice on something.
Yeah.
Actually, just the way that she thinks about things. Or people like Landon and things like that. So, no, I think in general, I try to surround myself with some pretty amazing people. And that creates a very low drama life for me, because I surround myself with very smart, accomplished, and intelligent people. So I think I get inspired by, a lot of my friends.
So I guess that kind of answers the second question as well, of like the top 2 or 3 mentors, people you reach out to.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of the top 3 people, like Amanda Leonard from Joe Vision, for sure. She's the CEO of Joe Vision. One of the best CEOs Chicago has to offer, and really one of the best CEOs the United States has to offer. Sam Yegan, Brian Lorson, who started Orchard, that's now DraftBit. Chris Deutsch, Jonathan Ellis, like it's just, I can name a lot. Stephen Galanis of Cameo. Can name a few people, but yeah.
Now, let's kind of go a little bit off topic of more so just kind of like hobbies? You know what I mean? Like what do you
Sure.
what do you do to, I guess, essentially fuel the anti-burnout? What gets you just stimulated?
The gym for sure.
Yeah.
I enjoy the gym. Not as good as you, but someday I'll get there.
It's like half my business. I go there to try to recruit people too. So
Oh,
it's
really?
like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
it's two birds, one stone.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Those are the best 100% commission people.
Oh, is it really? Wow.
Statistically for our company, it looks like just those individuals that are
Interesting.
I don't know, hyper competitive. You'll find a lot of competitive individuals.
The 100% commission is interesting, man. I don't think I'd have it in me to do it.
Yes, you do. You're talking about being a founder, dude. That's 100% commission.
Yeah, but like I think I'm building equity for the future. You're hoping, but I guess like you're kind of building that too. But
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, I think
I call them micro founders, insurance salesmen.
the gym, spending time with my friends. So I go out to eat a lot. Like I don't cook, so
Yes.
for every meal. So like whether it's like Soho House, I spend a lot of time there now.
Is that a club? What is it?
It's a secret society.
It makes I want to like join it. I see Soho and I'm like,
No,
I'm like, why am
it's
I not a part of the Soho?
No, honestly, I don't know how to do it. It's like it is sort of like a cool country club, I guess.
Yeah, it looks
For
like it. I was like,
but
do they just play golf like at the top of a high
unfortunately
rise?
don't. Unfortunately, no. I guess fortunately don't, because I hate golf.
I hate golf. I tried to do a real estate deal once, and they took me out on a golf course. And after the opening hole, they were just like, "You want to just keep score in the cart?" I was like, "Yeah,
Right.
I got calls to make anyways. It's all good."
It's such a boring sport. Like
So
I've never
boring.
played it, but
I
it
got
doesn't
respect for
look-
Tiger Woods, but
Yeah.
other than that, I'm like,
It doesn't look fun. Like I
No.
have a couple friends that are really passionate about it, and I'm like, good for you guys,
Yeah.
but like it's not for me.
I'll do Top Golf once a year, twice a year, just
Yeah,
for
it's
the
like
food.
a once a year kind of thing.
I like they have donut holes and they have like fillable sauces, and I'll
Yeah.
like drink the sauce. It's I got a sweet tooth. Do you have a sweet tooth?
I do, yeah. Chocolate chip cookies. The ones from Jewel Osco are actually pretty good because they make them fresh every day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm always I like the skillet cookie desserts. That's a go-to for me.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I love that too.
What's your favorite restaurant in Chicago?
Well, there's a Haitian restaurant in Chicago called Cuisine Creole. I love that place because it reminds me of home. So I say that's my favorite.
I don't know if I've seen that on your story. I feel like it's always made Nash
you've
in Soho.
you've seen that. I
Yeah?
think I've posted it a couple times. I just don't go there often because it's a far drive.
Okay.
And then second, I'd say Bavette's. It's an amazing steakhouse.
Yeah.
RPM, can't go wrong with that.
RPM Seafood.
Both, like seafood and Italian.
I don't think I've been to the Italian. Is
You
it
haven't
good?
been to Italian?
Is it
The
better than
Italian's pretty
Gibson's
good.
Italia? I've heard that one's really good.
Oh, that's a good question.
I haven't been
They're
to
both
either.
my favorites. I eat out a lot, basically, for those who are listening. And then in the West Side, there's a couple of good spots too. Lyra, Greek spot. Love Lyra.
There's a Greek spot around here that's always packed.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the one that you're thinking about.
I don't know.
It's always packed. Yeah,
Always packed.
But I know someone that can get me in. So whenever you want to go there, let me know.
Yes. I've been seeing them like, anytime I contact these places, we'll say whatever. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, you just had to book it, in a couple weeks. It's not horrible, but sometimes I'm more spontaneous.
Yeah.
And then I end up
It's
just
hard to be
going to the
spontaneous
Capitol
there
Grill.
because they're in high demand.
Yes.
I travel quite a bit whenever I'm off. So past 15 months, I've done Paris, Barcelona.
What's your
London.
favorite place you've been?
Oh man, Paris for sure.
Paris?
Paris was a vibe. Yeah.
And you just speak to everybody.
Yeah, I speak French, so
And fluently read everything, speak
I
everything?
can. Yeah, I can fluently read. I'm pretty fairly good at the fluently speaking because I don't speak it as much anymore. So I think I'm gonna start to lose it at some point, but I still got it a little bit.
Are you go out and explore like art and different things, food, or are you like a inside homebody?
When I'm traveling,
In general, both.
I think I'm inside homebody when I'm tired, but in general, I want to be out. I pretty much just sleep in my apartment. So when I'm traveling, it's like I enjoy going out when I'm traveling. Like I never make a list of things I want to do, except like big time restaurants I want to hit.
Yeah.
But besides that, kind of just like wake up, just start walking in one direction. Because I think like one of the reasons I go that far is because we all live I certainly do, like a very scheduled life.
Mm-hmm.
And like without expectations set on myself, others setting expectations on me every day. So it's like the one time I get to like truly do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I can wake up one day and sleep all day and doesn't matter to anyone.
Yeah.
Or I can just go to the Eiffel Tower or, go out to the club, come back like 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
It'd be cool.
I do whatever I want. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Yo, my favorite movie is it's a tie between Rush Hour and Office Space.
Rush Hour movies are so fun.
Yeah.
I used to watch it with my mom all the time.
And I think like they have the trilogy back on Netflix right now.
Yes, they do. They do.
So I've been watching that. Favorite TV show I think it's
Office Space is hilarious too.
Office Space is great.
He loves Office Space.
It's such a great show, movie.
Yes.
I'd say it's a tie between The Office and Family Guy.
I go to sleep with Family Guy on every night.
Yeah, I love Family. Like I watch Family Guy every day. Too.
Yeah.
Like I watch, and like I can.
It never gets old.
It never gets old.
Yeah, it never gets
never
old.
gets old.
And it's just enough where it's like I'm not so sucked in where I got to finish the episode where I can fall asleep.
Right.
And I love to fall asleep laughing because it's like such a stressful
It's
ass
such a-
day.
dude, I do the exact
So I'm
same
like,
thing.
you know what?
I do the
I'm just gonna
exact
put
same
it-
thing.
no matter what happens, Peter Griffin's on the screen. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? I could have a huge negative day or whatever it might be, and it's like, Family Guy's on. I'm gonna go to sleep laughing.
And also, like there are like real life scenarios where you see it too. You see like what is not the flashbacks, but they have a name for them. The cutaways.
Yeah.
The cutaways. And
Yes.
and you notice them in real life sometimes. Where you're like, oh man, that's definitely from Family Guy. That's
Yes.
definitely from Family Guy. So it's such a quotable show. I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. So, foods, movies, shows. I don't know if there's anything else I really wanted to.
Music.
Kind of talk. Music. I wanted to get in. I already know you love Meek Mill.
Yeah.
I'm from Pittsburgh. I've been to Philly once.
Sure.
I went to. We had an office out there. My partner has an office there.
Yeah.
And near, I think in King of Prussia. And so Meek Mill. I think. You're in Pennsylvania. It's something that's just.
Right.
I think first time I heard Meek Mill, I think I was like 9.
He's the mayor, he's the governor, he's everything.
Have you met him?
I have not met him, unfortunately.
You've got to be one connection away from.
But I know I
meeting
am.
You're one. You probably know. Like it's probably
I
there.
know someone who is very close with Michael Rubin.
Yeah.
Who's obviously very close to Meek. So but I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to send that text to be like, hey, make that happen.
Yeah.
But I do have that as a card in my back pocket.
Do you have a planned conversation? A plan like, well, how's it gonna go?
Well, the thing is, I've seen him live. I saw him. I flew to Cleveland this year for All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
It was an after party he was performing at. I went there. So I've seen him live, like at a club. He performed Dreams and Nightmares and all the hits.
Favorite 3 songs from Meek?
Oof, man, that's like asking someone like who their favorite child is. You know,
I can pull up these old ass songs I used to listen to. From
Dreams and Nightmares for sure. So that's a no brainer. I'm a Boss. The last one I'd say 1942 Flows, man.
Have you heard Amen by him?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Fire song.
I mean, come on.
That's what I grew up.
Yeah.
Rocking Amen, trying to ride a skateboard. I remember 11, 12
On the
years old.
I find a couple bonus ones on the regular. Woo, the intro on the last one, Expensive Pain. That's always fire. Hit on Me.
Have you heard Won't Stop?
Won't Stop by Meek?
Mm-hmm.
No. Wait.
I'm gonna
Wait,
play
let's
it,
play
even
it.
though if it messes up the algorithm,
Let's
I'm gonna
see.
play it. Let's see, it's gonna pop on loud.
Oh, that is vintage Meek.
This is old.
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah, just don't know the name. Yeah, that's vintage Meek.
Old, yeah, this
Yeah,
shit's
yeah.
old. This shit bangs. This is good to end with, though. I think Meek Mill.
Oh yeah, that is
Good to wrap up with. Is there anything else you want to talk about, shout out, anything at all? You know, where can people find you? Anybody you want to plug in? Whatever. 3 people are probably still watching right now.
What's that?
3 people are probably still watching right now.
Is it live?
It's not live, but I'm
Oh.
saying like when they do get in, I
Oh,
know my
man.
mom will watch.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like we've touched all the things, you know.
A lot.
You know, yeah, just, for those that are listening, just keep doing your thing, chasing your dreams, like Meek.
Yeah, and find that balance though too.
Find a balance.
Find a balance. Don't hurt. I think a lot of the burnout too sometimes can be comparison and holding yourself to such a. I never tell people don't not hold yourself to a high standard, but be graceful with yourself. Be loving to yourself. I always tell people the number one most important job for you in regard to being in my company is to love yourself, because the biggest asset isn't the systems and the things that we invest into. It's going to be you as a human being, and so you being happy, being passionate is going to be the most valuable thing that you can bring to our organization.
Yeah. No, I think it's especially good to work hard in your 20s.
Yes.
Especially if you want to, I think a lot of people make the mistake of like, work hard, play hard. Like, you can do both.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to work up till like 4 a.m.,
Yeah. Honestly, I try to tell people, because I did the hard work, didn't sleep, and I got into a few car accidents my first few years, and I got like a
it's
messed
not
up.
Good,
yeah, I got like tics and things. Like, I twitch a lot more than the average person. Like, I twitch.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like,
I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it was very unhealthy.
But no. But I see your point. So like,
I look back and I'm like, that ain't it. You know what I mean?
It's not great, because like, we're all trying to like, I guess we're all trying to become rich and powerful, right?
Yes.
But like, you can't enjoy the money if you're in a hospital bed.
Yeah, if you're in a hospital bed, or also if you kill some mother or somebody in general.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I got in like 4 or 5 accidents. Like, fell asleep behind the wheel.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Shit.
Yeah. So it's like, being in the sales industry, it's obviously very like there's the stigma of like just drugs, uppers, and things like that. I never got into any of that.
Right.
I grew up in that, you know what I mean, that household of like, everything will kill you. So I just always had a paranoia that everything was, you know what I mean, was like heroin. You know what I mean? So I was like, because that's what my parents made everything seem like. It was like, that's heroin. I'm like, what? And it took me a long time to realize that that's not the truth. But even to this day, it's like, not into any additives or anything like that.
Me neither. No, I don't even drink coffee, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not big. It's like, and when I feel like crashing out, what I've really found is like your uppers, take a nap.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll take a bunch of naps. I'll take a nap. But I think another thing that really hurts people, and we can wrap up. I think of just the comparison of, I think a lot of like our age group of like even up to like late 20s of just this expectation to have it all together. Everybody wants to have $100,000 in the bank, have a beautiful apartment or a house, have 2 cars, have a spouse or whatever it might be, have a great job or have some type of company or startup. And it's like, that's awesome if that does happen, but so what if it happens in your 30s, your 40s, or your 70s, or your you know what I mean? So it's like, don't beat yourself up. And then a lot of people, they'll compare to like our parents. Yeah. And I mean, so probably more in America,
right,
of like where they could move out, while they were just left high school. And like, I was asking my mom like what her apartment was when she moved out of high school. And she was like, she was like $400 a month. And I was like, and what was, minimum wage? She was like, I think like $750 or something. I was like, yeah. So do you see why you know what I mean? There's a huge discrepancy of like, you're not getting a $400 a month apartment in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In Illinois.
Yeah, I'd say, the whole thing about rushing, it's like, it's definitely a comparison. But I think it comes from school too, because like where, we're kind of taught, almost like, I know certainly like the school I went to high school, like a very competitive high school. So I think a lot of people were just comparing each other, comparing themselves to each other.
Yes.
Whether it was grades or kind of and then like where they went to college afterwards and things like that. But I think that sticks with you in a negative way beyond that. Because I'm very blessed. I live a very blessed life now, Like I'm financially doing very well, and I enjoy a lot of fine things. And I, get to mingle with some amazing people and befriend some great accomplished people. But I think the thing I've realized, like no one has it all together. No matter it's like they're a billionaire or a millionaire or someone making, $30,000 a year, like literally like they don't. No, people don't. So I think oftentimes you're just comparing, your behind the scenes with people's highlight reels. And that's usually not a great way to do things. So just, focus on yourself and keep improving yourself. Like the only competition should be yourself. Yeah. No matter how hard that is. Like Like literally compare yourself to the way you were a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And just compete against that person.
Yeah.
And over the years you'll see great change. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, Fire, thank you for
Of course.
joining the podcast. Hopefully in a year or so we can get you on again and
Yeah.
see how life's going.
No, for sure. No, thanks
Cool.
for having me.
Yes.